I'm Amy Giron, 22 years old, graduated from Pangasinan State University, Bayambang Campus, Bayambang, Pangasinan. I took a Bachelor of Elementary Education, major in pre-elementary. Our story is all about, I'm going to read a story about 10 little animals, ages 3 to 4 years old. Okay, before we're going to start, let's sing a song. It is now a story time, story time, story time. It is now a story time, listen carefully. Okay, before we're going to start our story, what are you going to do?
Listen carefully.
Listen carefully to teacher.
Eyes on teacher.
Eyes on teacher, okay. And before we're going to start, I'm going to ask you a question. Have you ever tried to jump on the bed?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Have you ever tried to bump your head?
Yes.
Okay. How does it feel like?
It hurts.
It hurts on the arm.
Yes, it hurts. Okay. Now we're going to start. We're going to read 10 little animals. Okay, there are the 10 little animals. 10 little animals were sitting on the bed, waiting for a bedtime story to be read. I climbed up to join them, and I opened the book. Then I thought I heard a noise, and raised my head and took a look. 10 little animals were jumping on the bed. The monkey bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more monkeys jumping on the bed." Okay. Now, how many animals left?
9.
9. Okay. 9 little animals were jumping on the bed. The penguin bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more jumping on the bed." Okay, what's the number next? 8. Okay. 8 animals were jumping on the bed. The hippo bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more hippos jumping on the bed." Okay, what's the number next? 7. 7 little animals were jumping on the bed. The giraffe bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more giraffes jumping on the bed." Okay, what's the number next?
6.
6. Okay. 6 little animals were jumping on the bed. The lion bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more lion jumping on the bed." And what's the numbers next?
5.
5. Okay. 5 little animals were jumping on the bed. The zebra bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more zebras jumping on the bed." What number next?
4.
4. Okay. 4 little animals were jumping on the bed. The camel bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more camels jumping on the bed." Okay, what's the number next?
3.
3. 3 little animals were jumping on the bed. The panda bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more pandas jumping on the bed." What's the number next?
2.
2. Two little animals were jumping on the bed. The elephant bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "No more elephants jumping on the bed." And what's the number next?
One.
One. Okay. One little animal was jumping on the bed. The tiger bounced off and bumped his head. I called the doctor, and the doctor said, "Tell those animals it's time to bed." Okay. Then the 10 little animals began to fall asleep. I kissed each one softly on the cheeks. I pulled up the cover and turned out the light. Good night, little animals. Good night, good night. Okay. Did you love our story?
Yes, teacher.
Okay. Children, just remember that no jumping on the bed, okay?
Yes.
And I asked you a question. Who are the character of the story?
Then
The
little
animals.
Little animals. Who are those?
We have the
Giraffe,
monkey,
the monkey, the penguin, the elephant, the camel, yes, the tiger,
Lion.
the lion,
The panda.
the panda,
The hippo.
the hippo. Okay.